Your workshop today is presented by the three IB coordinators, Michelle Rowland, PYP coordinator, Jenny Montague, MYP coordinator, and Mara Shenstone, our DP coordinator. We have some goals for our workshop today. And at the end of the session, we hope that you know more about the 5 categories of the IB approaches to learning, that you understand why the approaches to learning skills are important. You know some of the ways teachers strive to support students in the development of these skills, and you understand more about the progression of the skill development at our school. But before we dive deep into the approaches to learning, let's remember what's at the heart of the IB programs, and that is the learner profile. So having a look at our 3 program models here, you can see the learner profile features at the centre of all 3 programs. On the left, we have the primary years program, which is for our early years 1 to grade 5 students. And then in the middle, we have the middle years program, which is for grades 6 to 10. And then we have the IB diploma program, which is for students in grade 11 and 12. So what is the learner profile? Well, the IB learner profile is a set of attributes defined by the IB that all students and members of the learning community work towards demonstrating. So throughout school and home and in the community, students are developing the attribute of being knowledgeable, a risk taker, caring, reflective, principled, communicator, an inquirer, open-minded, balanced, and a thinker. Throughout this presentation, we hope that you'll see the connection between the development of the approaches to learning skills and the development of the attributes in the IB learner profile. Let's now hear from some PYP learners as they describe how they understand the learner profile.
PYP learners grow as a whole person by developing social and emotional skills alongside academic.
I think it's just made me a better person in general. I'm open to new ideas, I'm more caring, I remember I have to do this better. It's like, let's say I'm nervous, I have to be more of a risk taker. If I am being kind of mean, I'll say I have to be more caring.
So not only do we exhibit those in all the learning that we do, but by being aware of those learner profiles and knowing how they can help you succeed in life, they really make you a more respectful, open-minded person. And if you're a more respectful, open-minded person, the end of the line is you will be, more prepared for when you graduate from school and you have real-life situations that you need to deal with.
I've definitely grown, I feel like a stronger person. I feel like my mind has grown since I've come here. As part of the IB program, it's very challenging for me, but I get through it and my mind, it just starts to grow with me.
So what then do we mean by approaches to learning? Well, the approaches to learning are essentially a set of skills that students develop throughout their schooling that help them become successful learners, both within school and outside of school. And the approaches to learning are an integral part of an IB education, from early years all the way through to grade 12. So just take a minute to think about what skills are necessary while at school. The list is huge. What skills does your child have that helps them be successful at school? Which skills need further development? I wonder which skills came to your mind. So the approaches to learning skills are really a learning toolkit, because our job as teachers is not to prepare students for one thing in particular. Our job is to help students to prepare themselves for anything. So with this comprehensive set of skills, they can then take these things and apply them to a multitude of situations. So approaches to learning skills are not new. In fact, they're found in various curriculum models around the world. In the US, the Common Core calls these skills 21st century skills. In the Australian National Curriculum, they're called general capabilities. And in Canada, they're called 21st century competencies. So let's now look back at the program models, and we can see that approaches to learning skills are also at the centre of all we do, lying in a consistent position in all three models. So there are 5 categories of skills that support students all the way from the PYP to the DP to become self-regulated learners. All right, so we're going to have a think. What could these 5 categories be? Students at school may be asked to read a passage and make connections with their previous knowledge. They may be asked to consider the questions that they still have. What sort of skills involved here? Thinking skills are involved. Let's look at another example. Students may be asked to gather information from a variety of sources. They may be asked to look for video clips, go to the library and search for a book, or do an online database search. What sort of skills are needed here? Research skills. How about the skill to listen and participate in conversations and then present ideas to others? Communication skills. And what about the ability to understand and respect other points of view and resolve conflicts? These are social skills. And lastly, how about devising a plan before getting started on a task? Getting things done on time and using time effectively. These are self-management skills. So throughout all 3 programs, we have the same 5 categories: thinking skills, research skills, self-management skills, social skills, and communication skills. So let's think more about what's involved in each category. So in the PYP, under the heading of thinking skills, we have some subcategories, and students are developing skills in order to enhance their critical thinking, creative thinking, their ability to transfer information and reflect and apply metacognition. In research skills, students are learning information literacy, media literacy, and the ethical use of information. And here we refer to the ISB academic integrity policy to ensure that students have the skills to apply ethical use. And in communication skills, students are learning how to exchange information and use symbolic exploration and expression, so early writing skills, towards literacy skills and ICT skills. And social skills. Students are learning how to manage interpersonal relationships and develop their social and emotional intelligence. And self-management skills. Students are learning how to be organised. They're learning about perseverance. They're learning about online safety which is so important in today's world. And they're learning about emotional management and resilience. So here you can have a snapshot look at the ISB ATL sequence of skills that we're developing in all our students.
As students progress throughout the PYP, the skills also progress in the level of complexity. Skill development is also now included in the ISB written reports. Let's now hear from the IB a little bit more about the approaches to learning.
PYP learners develop thinking and communication skills which allow them to share their ideas and critically analyse information.
When our eldest child was approaching the age he'd be going into kindergarten, we started doing some research. When I researched the IB, I was by far the most excited about it. And it was really the focus on, I'd say, the social emotional skills and the deeper level thinking skills that I felt there was such an emphasis on, the critical thinking, the reflection.
I think it's good to work in a group. I mean, it's good to learn how to work independently, but you also need to learn how to work with others because you're going to do that a lot in the real world, like social skills and self-management skills.
We have to communicate with each other, and when we grow up, we're going to have to live our own lives without our parents, and we're going to have to learn how to act like adults and how to get ourselves jobs and opportunities.
When we think about what employees want in the future, they want students who can collaborate, they want students who ask the right questions, and then who are able to put it all together and apply it to a new situation. And that's what we're doing here.
So why are the approaches to learning skills so important? Because they encourage learners to be self-regulated, and they set students up for lifelong learning. So what does it mean to be self-regulated? It means that students can set learning goals. And PYP parents, you'll be familiar with your child setting themselves learning goals. They're able to ask open-ended questions. They can generate motivation and perseverance. They can reflect on achievement. They can try out different learning processes, and they can self-assess as they learn. And they can adjust their learning process when necessary. So the ATLs are grounded in the belief that we're teaching students how to learn, and that learning how to learn is fundamental to a student's education. So the ATL skill development is developed through both implicit and explicit opportunities throughout the day. So if you have a look at this picture here of our early learners, you can imagine the implicit opportunities for the development of skills in this learning situation. You can imagine students planning and thinking and communicating with one another, and perhaps conducting some research, all as they authentically involve themselves in such an exciting learning experience there. And then there are explicit opportunities. And these are opportunities that are thoughtfully planned by the teacher to aid the development of a specific skill or area of skill development. So in this case, it might be developing observation skills. Maybe it's recording their findings, conducting research, and maybe even communicating with one another their results. In many situations in the elementary school, a huge variety of skills is called on in any given situation. You can imagine in this situation, students having to apply a vast array of skills in order to participate and enjoy this activity. So how then are they taught in the PYP? So explicitly, goals might be co-constructed with teachers and students working together on a goal, either individually or for the class. Teachers identify areas of skill development for a particular unit of inquiry. So you can imagine how we express ourselves unit often lends itself well to communication skill development, whereas a more science-based unit may be thinking skills. Perhaps in art, self-management skills. Teachers and students reflect on specific approaches to learning skills that have been involved in the unit. Some students have approaches to learning skills personalised for further support in a particular area. Teachers design specific learning engagements to directly target the development of one skill area, and teachers monitor the development of those skills. So it's always a balancing act between opportunities that arise naturally as part of being in an elementary school and those that are planned for explicitly. So how does the teacher help in the development of skills? Well, they may model the skill. They may provide scaffolds when introducing a skill for the first time. This might be a checklist. This might be some pictures with some hints. They provide support so that students can gradually develop more proficiency. Teachers consider multiple contexts which students can practice and transfer the skills. So if communication skills are being focused on, teachers work together so that that can be demonstrated in multiple classes and in multiple situations. And students and teachers talk together so that they can identify where students want to improve and what they need further practice in. Importantly, the approaches to learning skills are transferable across contexts and can be used both inside and outside of school.
Coordinator, and I'm going to be walking you through the ATL skills in the MYP. First, however, I want to go back to the similarities between the PYP, MYP, and DP. These similarities highlight the importance of the skills in all three programs. In all three programs, there are 5 main categories with subcategories or clusters of skills. There's a balance of planned ATL skill lessons and in-the-moment lessons as needed. Units include a balance of academic, social, emotional, and self-management skills. And there is a published ATL progression of learning, or scope and sequence. This is important that we have age and grade appropriate expectations for the students. Another thing that's really important is to remember that the goal in all three programs is to develop independent, self-regulated learners by teaching students how to learn. That phrase is really important, and it's really come out in the last 2 years as our students have been doing online learning or hybrid learning, and they've had to show more initiative and take greater ownership in their learning. In the MYP, the ATL categories and skill clusters include communication, which not only is reading, writing, and speaking, but also the use of visual language. Social skills, the ability to work together, to collaborate, to negotiate ideas, to take leadership, to work out problems. Self-management skills are always really important in the middle years. We have organization skills, such as keeping an organized set of files or notes. Affective skills, being able to manage moods, to work on persistence and perseverance. and reflective skills, being able to step back from your work and look at it and think about what are the areas of growth and what are the strengths, where can you go next. Next, we have research skills, which include not only information literacy skills, but media literacy. We need to have media savvy kids. And finally, we have the thinking skills. These include creative thinking, critical thinking, and transfer skills. Can students take what they learn in one subject or on one task and transfer it to another? The MYP has a very extensive list of ATL skills. In fact, there are 140 in all. I'm not going to go through all of them. I thought, however, I would focus on some specifics in the creative thinking skills. We tell kids to think, we tell them to be creative, but we can't assume that they know what that means. We have to show them, what does a creative thinker look like? What does a creative thinker do? And the ATL skills help highlight what our expectations are, such as the ability to do brainstorming, to use visual diagrams, to make connections between ideas, to ask the what if questions, to create original things, to just be flexible in their thinking. And one of my most favorite is the ability to generate metaphors and analogies to convey complex ideas simply. Creative thinking is very challenging, so we really have to be able to tell kids this is what it looks like. Many ATL skills are fortunately already built into the MYP subject objectives and the subject assessment criteria. Each subject has 4 criteria, and each of those criteria have relevant ATL skills. This happens to be INS, and you can see that there's knowledge skills. Criteria B, investigation skills, no surprises there. Criteria C, communication skills. Key here is the ability to write for different purposes and different audiences. And the last one is criteria D, thinking critically. This includes being able to evaluate and select sources, to be able to recognize unstated biases and assumptions, and to interpret data. Moving on, each unit in the MYP will focus on 3 to 5 specific ATL skills. Of course, we're going to be working on as many as we can, but these 3 to 5 are ones that we're going to explicitly teach and explicitly comment on. This one example says use appropriate forms of writing for different purposes and audiences. Interpret and use effective modes of nonverbal communication. The task in this case is analyzing political cartoons, and to read critically and for comprehension. So these are things that might appear on a student's report card, such as this one. Now, due to the subjective nature of the ATL skills and the age and maturation range of students within any grade level, the skills are reported on using the following categories instead of numbers. They go excelling, demonstrating, developing, and below. In this sample report, the first 3 are standards and the last 3 are the ATL skills. And these will be reported on in all throughout the year, in the fall, in the winter, in the spring, and finally at the end of the year report card. The importance of the ATL skills in the MYP really comes out in the grade 10 personal project. This is a culminating project of the MYP in which students get to take all that they've learned and to demonstrate initiative and independence in producing a product of their own choosing. When they write their final report, they will be writing explicitly about the ATL skills. What skills did they need to improve on, and how did they improve on them, and what's the evidence for that? And that's going to be really important as kids move on to DP and they have even more independence in their learning. So now I'll switch it over to Maris, and she'll tell you about the ATL skills in the diploma program. Thank you.
And now we move to the final piece of the puzzle, the diploma program. My name is Maris Shenstone, and I'm the DP coordinator here at ISB. I will spend a few minutes discussing the approaches to learning in the diploma program. While we continue to work on the 5 approaches to learning that are introduced in the PYP and then developed further in the MYP, the focus in DP is a little different. Our focus shifts to life after school and the skills needed for tertiary study, for work, and for lifelong learning. The learning intentions remain the same in this part of the presentation to help build understanding of why the approaches to learning are important and some ways of how they are explicitly taught, developed, and assessed in the diploma program. Students will need to be much more independent learners when they are at university. They need to learn actively and take responsibility for their learning. As Barry Zimmerman's self-regulated learning model attests, developing students' ATL skills is about developing affective and metacognitive skills, and about encouraging students to view learning as something that they do for themselves in a proactive way, rather than as a covert event that happens to them in reaction to teaching. They will also be very helpful when a student wants to apply for and keep a place in the workforce. A 2007 study showed that the top 4 requirements sought in new recruits are oral and written communication skills, critical thinking and problem-solving skills, professionalism and work ethic, and teamwork and collaboration skills. All these skills are part of the approaches to learning. So let's move to the skills themselves, beginning with thinking skills. IB courses are moving away from tasks that require students to just remember or explain. While knowledge is still vital, students are taught to apply their knowledge in authentic disciplinary problems. So biology students are taught to think like biologists, economics students like economists, and music students like musicians. And finally, students make their thinking explicit through visible thinking routines. The foundation of these thinking routines is frequently found in the work of Project Zero at Harvard University. A number of diploma program teachers have completed this course, and its benefits are clearly evident in the work of our students. Finally, there are 3 more types of thinking that are explicitly taught in the diploma program. There is metacognition, which is where we learn about how we learn. Then there is reflection, which is an accessible component of a number of courses. And there are also higher level thinking skills. These are assessed in several courses where the top bands of marks require analysis and evaluation. Next are communication skills, which are designed to enhance the future prospects of our students as they move on to tertiary studies and to work, to build their self-confidence, and to develop a positive atmosphere of collegiality in the school environment. For examples of advanced communication skills developed in the diploma program are the oral presentation in the TOK exhibition, media literacy across many subjects, an academic research paper, the extended essay, and interaction within the community in CAS. A starting point for the next approach to learning, social skills, lies in the acknowledgement of 3 factors. 1, that people differ greatly in terms of their degree of introversion or extroversion, and that these differences should be respected. That different cultures have different expectations on appropriate behaviours in social situations, and that one's words and actions have an impact on other people. An understanding of these factors helps students to build harmonious working relationships with a range of people. The continued development of solid self-management skills is absolutely key to achieving success in the diploma program. As the workload builds, students who actively strive to manage their time and emotions cope and learn better than those who don't. In the diploma program, self-management skills are divided into 2 strands. The first, organisational skills, refers to time management. The second, affective skills, refers to managing emotions. We work extensively with students in both these strands. And finally, there are the research skills. These are developed in 3 ways: through writing a 4,000-word academic paper called the extended essay, through the research required in inquiry-based activities in the classroom, and through the expectation that students will learn the practice of academic integrity, where they do not claim the work of others as their own. In the diploma program, the approaches to learning are so important that they are assessed separately and have their own section of the student report. Teachers have determined skills which demonstrate the different approaches to learning, and these are assessed regularly. Intelligence and ability will get a student so far, but real sustained success in the diploma program comes when this works hand in hand with the skills and the approaches to learning.
The 3 program coordinators at ISB, thank you for your interest in the ATL workshop, and we hope you've enjoyed it.